Alright, so I was able to get chapter 21 to write. What ended up happening was I got an error message that my API, my connection to the AI, wasn't there. So then you just have to go reinitialize it. Just a couple clicks. Alright, so this is chapter 21 that it's doing right now. I'll show you the prompt. Nice big chapter. Go. And then chapter 21's prompt is just like that. Just make it as long as possible, and I give it this stuff that you gave me earlier. Just copy this. We are almost done. Then we're going to ask for beta feedback so that we know where to go from here. So that was 21. We are at 28,000 words. So now we have a couple more chapters left. "22". I want it on everything, but I want to be looking at chapter 22. So with asking it to actually make things longer, we're going to get over 30,000. Just like that. Now the nice thing about going over 30K, if 30K is actually your goal, is that a lot of this can be edited. You don't need to add more words in. So it's not like you're scrambling, trying to be like, oh my gosh, I can't cut this word because I need it to make my word count. No, you don't need it. We're going to get you over. See, we're at 30 right now, and we have a few more chapters. That way we're going to get you over so that you don't have to worry about it. You can go through and cut entire scenes if you want to. You're still going to be over 30K if that's your goal. Change this to 23. Alright, perfect. Easy enough. That's 23. I am actually going to take some of the shorter chapters and toss them back in, and I'll show you that. Some of those chapters that were like 1,000 words. No. Alright, here's chapter 24. Did I already do this? Alright. Please write chapter 24. I'm also going to ask it if it needs an epilogue. But that'll be after chapter 25 is done. I also want to know what it thinks the reading level is. Like, is it more of a young adult? Is it a new adult, which is like 2021? Because to me, it's feeling like young adult. That's 24. And here's 25. And I'll just throw a new chapter there. Super easy. Just in case we need an epilogue, and then we don't have to go back to the plan. This is going to need so much edits, but, I mean, it's got good base. It's got, oh, we are doing the epilogue. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that we're having an epilogue. So, I mean, that answered that question. So, chapter 25 would be a good place to show you how just to expand it really quick. Let me get this epilogue in. Pretty. Alright, so if you want to take a chapter and make it longer, so we're starting at 950. Let's see what it takes it. This is fun. It was a nice break from romance. And maybe instead of a 30K in 90 minutes, this will be like a 40K in, I don't know, 2 hours, however long this is taking. Okay. See, so we put in 950 words and got back 2,400. Not bad at all. Get rid of this. And plop that in. So that's literally how easy it is. You just take, say you want this expanded, 684 words. 26. The epilogue. Expand this. I do like to think it is helpful. I know I've had comments about that, and yeah, I'm okay with thanking the AI. The AI makes my life easier. It helps me with blurbs, and I don't like writing blurbs. It helps me do fun things like this when I'm like, hey, let's just create something. We can edit it into something completely polished and ready to go, but let's create something. See? And that's it. You know, it was too short. 684 words is not going to cut it. This is much, much better. Alright, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to get rid of all of this. There we go. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And then a really fun thing that you can do within Novel Crafter is just go like this. And see, it'll show you the word count for each one. So if you're like, alright, all of these are too short. All of these until we get to like the 1800 to 1700 words. Absolutely, just toss them back in. Just like I was doing. Just, hey, this needs to be longer. This is what this is. Make it longer. Alright, so I'm going to ask it some beta rated questions. I just want to go back to write. I want to see exactly how long it is. So it's 3,800. We can easily fix that. Just like, here's the first chapter. We're going to fix that. So the strengths are We've got some world building, good character development, themes. Yep. There are pacing issues, absolutely. It can definitely be expanded. Mm-hmm. Yep, because we are only looking at chapter 25. No, I completely agree. Let's switch it to the full context. Take this off and ask it again. And this time it's considering the entire book. I'm also going to show you. I did top off, but we are, and it hasn't reset yet, but we're probably a little over $5 now. We've got good scope, we've got good themes, good blending of genres. There's pacing issues, absolutely. Yep. There is purple prose, absolutely. Because we added the extra chapters to get the word count up. So, let's see if we needed them. Yep. And we get rid of the repetition too by doing that. So if you considered just chapters 1 to 15, say we completely got rid of chapters 16 to 25. See, that solves the pacing issue and some of the issues that we have in later chapters, but it does leave us with a bittersweet ending and it's a bit abrupt. But I don't like leaving things abrupt, and I don't like leaving cliffhangers, but, you know, does it have merit? Sure. Mm-hmm. So, just like we did before, taking this, because at this time it does make sense to take this and turn this into just the first novella. I'm also going to take this off. 1. Please expand it to be as long as possible. "955 words is not going to cut it." So if this was me, given the feedback that we just got, I would stop it at chapter 15. I would save the rest of it, but I would stop it at chapter 15 and then probably make a sequel. And go ahead and copy that. That way it doesn't feel rushed. We're not repeating themes. We're not doing anything like that. This is plain text. And something really great that you can do, say you're like, I'm not ready to get rid of those extra 10 chapters right now. You can just make a copy of it. You know, just make a copy of this book in Novel Crafter, and you're good to go. You can have one that has the extra chapters in it. You can have one that just has the first 15 chapters in it. It's whatever works for you. And this is chapter 2. How long is this? This is 962 words. So, exact same thing. take this. Because especially if we are going to cut it down to 15 chapters, which, I mean, the original outline was fine. It ends bittersweet. It ends on kind of a cliffhanger. It's absolutely fine. Especially if we know that we're making the sequel. Now, if you don't know that you're going to make a sequel, please don't make a cliffhanger. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. If I know that something ends in a cliffhanger and the next book is not out, I generally will not get the next book. Just because I don't want to be left with questions. There was one author, I forget who it was, but she wrote, it was a romance, and then she wrote, but it was like a fantasy action adventure romance. She wrote a couple that I really liked, and then she made an epilogue with that couple's brother, like the brother of the guy in the couple. And then it was the sweetest epilogue, and I was so looking forward to his story, and then it never got written. And honestly, I would have rather not had that epilogue in the story at all, because then I would have never been like, oh, I can't wait to see him. But I did not get his book because she never wrote it. She's still writing books. Absolutely. She just never wrote that one. Alright, let's see here. Do you need to be told again? Maybe, but I'm going to pause it here. So after giving this some thought, what I decided to do is stop it at chapter 15, do the epilogue, so the original outline, and then get rid of everything after that. Because what we needed was more word count and not more plot. I think it got convoluted, and I don't think we need it in this story. So what I'm going to do is make a copy of this book so that I have the original, and then I'm also going to cut out the extra chapters. I wanted to show you too, it is Saturday, or it's Sunday now. I started this on Saturday. So I wanted to show you what 714 looks like as far as cost. $4.56. For Sonnet, haiku we can ignore. Haiku is other projects that I'm working on. But we're just using Sonnet for this. So $4.56 so far. That's US dollars. Because we're not using a lot of the word count that we used and that we created, your count will probably be lower. But I'm not happy with the story as it is, with all the extra chapters. So instead of leaving it and just being like, yay, it's done, it's not done. Even with edits, it's definitely not done. But I think a more solid book would be 1 through 15 plus the epilogue. It will end kind of bittersweet. The epilogue may save it a little bit from that. But it's not going to be so convoluted, and we're not going to go back and forth on the plot. Like how the AI talked about it yesterday, where it was like, hey, you know, it's just a lot. So that's what we're doing right now. So I'm going to get that done really quick so that you don't have to sit through that. And then we'll get back to expanding the chapters and then getting some beta reading feedback on the stuff that is here, the 1 through 15 and the epilogue. Hey, so now we're going to take out the extra 10 chapters, add in an epilogue, finish it up, and It's now Monday the 15th, so I am a day late on this, and I'm so sorry. I would have been on time, except I decided that I needed to add 10 chapters and then remove them, because they didn't really work with the plot, and they made the book way too convoluted, and we don't need that. So what we're doing right now is going to be deleting the extra chapters. And so all I did to get this, because there's not a really easy way that I've found in copying a book in Novel Crafter, there should be. You can copy a scene, you can copy a chapter, you can't really copy an entire book. So what I do is I export it into a Word document. I put that Word document into just Google Docs. You can also just use Word. And then since I haven't been able to get import to really work on Novel Crafter, I just toss it into a new book. So like this one is, it's all the book, it's all of the chapters, all the words, but it's all in one chapter because all I did was paste it in. This is just so that we don't lose it if you're actually attached to any of it. If you hate it, go ahead and get rid of it. You absolutely can do that. And then I make it into a series so that I know that these two books, even though they're the same right now, they're connected, so that I don't think that this is some weird extra book that I wrote months ago when I come back to this. So I'm just here. I'm going to go ahead and close that because we don't need that right now. Now we're going to go ahead and sign in. But we're going to do that in a second. This is the last goal, which way behind, but it'll be okay. So in this novella, what we need to do is just, this is the actual one that we're keeping. So we're just going to go down to chapter 15. And then we're just going to, we can't delete it because the scenes have context in them. So we just need to go, we can archive the scene if we want to. Which, yeah, let's just archive it. And delete it. Yes, delete. Archive it. Delete it. Yes, delete. See, and even though it keeps saying that it's chapter 16, it's actually like chapter 17, 18 at this point. It just renames them. So, the exact same thing. Archive it. Delete it. What's nice about that too is if you're like, this chapter needs to be in this other place, you can easily just bloop, bloop, move them around. We're not doing that right now, but it is very easy to do. And that's something that I really like about Novel Crafter. Like, say you were like, actually this big fight scene, this needs to happen later in the book. I don't want to copy paste everything. Just move it. Super simple. Just grab the dots and move it. There isn't really a faster way that I found with this part, which I guess is nice if you're not totally sure if you want to. It takes an extra second for you to be like, oh yeah, I definitely want to delete that. But what's nice too is that since we didn't make the prose, we aren't really attached to any of this. Is it good for something? Sure, but it would need a lot of work and it would be better as a sequel. It is not good as what it is, which is part of this novella. Okay, so we are back to just having 15 chapters. We may still need an epilogue. Well, here's the epilogue. So that's the epilogue, I guess. All right. So what we need to do is, since we are not adding extra chapters to get to that 10,000 words, we need to expand the chapters that are here. Like this one that's 962 pages or words. This one that's 1100. Each of these needs to be expanded. 1700 I'm okay with, but not under 1,000 words. So let's go ahead, jump right into write. And then just gonna grab this. I'm gonna close that. We don't really need the codex at this point. All 962 little words of it. We're just gonna go chat with scene, because that's where I like to be. Actually, we already have this one. Alright, 962 words is about to become quite a bit longer. Okay, and something to keep in mind with this when we're telling it to expand is that we want to make sure, like right now it's 2,900 words. We want to make sure that this doesn't mess with anything in a later chapter, like maybe it didn't combine the two chapters. But even if we have to cut out a lot of this, this is still a good amount of word count without messing too much with the plot. Copy that. Get rid of this. It's 2,900 words. And see, the previous chapter ended on the council debating, and this still ends on the council debating. So it didn't really add anything plot-wise. It just expanded what was here, which is exactly what we wanted. Alright, so same thing here. Let me show you this too. Actually, no. So expand, definitely usable in small chunks. I would not use it for an entire chapter, just because it tends to work in small chunks. So it may expand something, but it will definitely cut something out, in my experience. Like it'll start from halfway through. So go ahead and copy that. I'm going to get rid of this one because we didn't need this one. I'm trying to keep it all in one thread so I can actually show you guys the thread. Maybe in like a blog post or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Expand this. Alright, so 1100 words is quickly going to become something a lot longer, which is fantastic. So ideally what I'd like to show you is the one that has the 25 chapters, all of the prompts, so like this whole thread, and then also what eventually becomes of this, so that you can kind of see the process. Oh, we stopped it. Okay. So we hit the output, which I guess is about 2,800 words, but no, that's not going to happen. There. So this is going to be a long chapter, but it all looks good. And I do want you to get a feel for the prose in 3.5 because sometimes it is worth the extra cost over haiku. Sometimes not. Alright, so let's take a look at that. This is all the same one though. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and copy that. So, Kale approached, I'm assuming that his name is pronounced Kale, or KL, I don't know. To me it looks like Kale. Kale approached, there we go, get rid of that. So this chapter is 4,100 words, that's fine, not the end of the world. Okay, this is 1,200 words. We're going to do the exact same thing. copy this, go here. So we're going to go from 1200 to a little bit longer than that. But I also like showing you all of the unedited text so that you can really see what it looks like before it's polished, which I think takes some of the illusion, I guess, out of AI, because, you know, it's not perfect. It looks really good, but it still needs to be edited. So even though this part's easy, and just a little bit of, hey, you know, you need to expand this, or hey, taking out those 10 chapters was a better idea. We didn't actually need them. Really? We're stopped again? Okay. There's still plenty that you need to do on the back end. Copy that. Paste that. Don't make this one 4,100 words again, please. Okay. See, and just like the end of the previous chapter, before we told it to expand, their journey had begun. So we should still be on track for the plot. We shouldn't be like 3 chapters ahead at this point. It's just adding a lot more detail, a lot more conversation. And if you notice too, it's not fluffy stuff that it's adding. Some of it probably is fluffy, but we're looking at mostly good details and mostly conversation. Alright, we're on chapter 5. Why did I think that was chapter 3 for a second? I don't know. Here's chapter 5. Alright, so we're stepping into a cave on this one. Exact same thing. Please expand this as much as possible, telling it, ooh, nope, stop. Stop. Chapter 4 didn't have an issue, but I don't want it to be grabbing from the wrong chapters. Alright, good. Send. So 1,300 words is going to become something longer. It is really nice to not be doing a romance. My last big novel I finished it ended up being 170,000 words after edits. It's one standalone book, which is part of that, but it was a contemporary dark romance. And by the end of it, I was like, can I please just write something else? I mean, I love the book. I'm so glad that I got it done. But at the same time, I am glad to be looking at something that is a fantasy story instead of a contemporary romance. We're still going. Okay. Copy that. We did not finish it, apparently. Paste as plain text. Something about twisted creatures is where we're at. I feel like her eyes shifting to pure black is something that will need to be edited out because I feel like it happens quite a bit. Copy that. Okay, here's this. Right, now for chapter 6. This one's not too short, but now that everything else is getting over 3,000 words, let's just go ahead. But let's take a look at it. Oh, we're at 30K. Okay, that's nice. Let me see here. I'm going to go down to 5 really quick. Yeah, we will edit that out. But let me see here. Get rid of that. Okay, so that still makes sense with what we're doing because we went into the blighted lands. Alright, are we talking about a cave here? Or did we already go into the cave? Okay, so here's the cave. They're approaching. They went into the cave. Alright, so this is all in the cave. Okay. So yeah, this still lines up with this, which is what I wanted to make sure of. Oh, yeah, that is easier. Copy scene prose. Change the context to 6. Okay, so we're at 1,700 words for this. At this rate, doing the first 5 chapters brought us 10k more. This may end up being a novel, which was not really my intent, but I'm not going to hate it if it is a novel. So I would like to see what a novel with 3.5 actually looks like, since 3.5 is so much pricier. But let's take a look. Did you not do what you needed to do? Why did you not do what you needed to do? Okay, let's go ahead and refresh it. Instead of asking it to redo. There we go. Okay, copy that, but I'm going to tell it, please continue. I'm going to go right over here. Just replace this. Let's go ahead and copy that. That's just this, so we're going to get rid of it because that's where it cut off. Alright, let's see here. Does this match up with chapter 7? That's always the question when we just expand it like this. Okay. Yep, so she lost consciousness here. She gained it back here. So that is good. We are at 33,000 words. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here. We'll come right back to it and expand 7 through 15. And see where we end up, really. It'll be fun. So just like with the previous chapters, we're grabbing this chapter. Going to chats here. I'm going to change my context to chapter 7. I'm also going to slide this back down so that we can compare it. So it's right now 1,400 words. And then let it do its thing. And then once it does this, I do want to show you how expensive it is so far. But I want to see what it does so far too. And keep in mind when I show you this total, this was adding in 10 chapters that I'm now deleting. So if you did a 30K with Sonnet, it would be lower than this, but I just want you to have an idea of what each response costs. It ends up being about 20 cents. Now, I'm not saying that Sonnet isn't great, because it is, but I just want you to be aware of how expensive it is. Because I don't want you going into it thinking that it's like haiku, and it's definitely not. But is it better than haiku? Maybe. Yeah, if it costs more but you have to do less rewrites and less edits in the long run, is it worth it to pay the more expensive one? Possibly. Is it then worth it to not do it this way and do it through Poe, where you have unlimited, but then you don't have Novel Crafter's ability to kind of organize things and expand things? So keep that in mind too. I am just putting this up here. No. Paste as plain text. And then please continue because it cut off. Alright, so let's see what it gave us. And then 900 words. Copy that. That's creepy. The walls are breathing. That is super creepy. Alright, so that was chapter 7 is all done. Right, and then we would just do chapter 8. We're going to do the exact same thing with chapter 8, but I wanted to show you kind of where we're at. So to give you context, here is haiku, and then here is 3.5 sonnet. So 3.5 sonnet from the 13th, it's currently the 15th, was $7.18. Yesterday was $1.56. And then we're going to wrap this up today. So this video probably won't be released until the 16th just because it has to be pieced all together and then uploaded, but it'll be substantial. However, some of that could have been saved by me not putting 10 chapters in and then getting rid of them. So keep that in mind. But I did want you to see kind of the cost of Sonnet 3.5. So chapter 8, we're doing the exact same thing. Copy scene prose. 8. Please expand it as much as possible. And change this context over to 8. We are almost done. There's only 15 chapters. So it's not massive. Go ahead and send that out. Switch it to 8. It's acting like it's doing something, but it's not actually doing something. So I'm going to give it a second. See how it's kind of jiggling a little bit? So I did just need to reload and refresh chapter 8. I'm just going to copy this. We'll have to tell it to expand again. That's not too hard. All the way down here. No. Right, and then please continue. Let it do its thing. Okay, another very long chapter. Alright, copy that. Alright, so there's that. And then we'll just do chapter 9. And the exact same thing with chapter 9. We'll do this 6 more times and go from there. Take a look at it when it's done. So chapter 9, just like we've been doing, it's 1,300 words. I'm going to go ahead and copy scene prose, toss it in here, change this context to chapter 9. Send that. We'll go ahead and change this back to chapter 9. It's taking a little bit. There we go. So it just finished doing its thing. And we will come right back to it. Hey, and welcome back. It is now the 16th of July, so I'm officially 2 days behind on this project. It will be going out today. It will be uploaded. It is a bunch of videos that all need to be pieced together, but we're going to get this done. It is absolutely going out to you all today. Also, in addition, there's going to be a blog that it will be going live today. This will have all the text and all of the prompts and everything so that you can see it all, you can read it, you can reference it and go back to it, because I know sometimes the videos jump around a little bit. Sometimes I'm a little fast. This will be for everybody who prefers to read it instead of watching it or listening, or if you want to go a little slower. Absolutely fine. I wanted you to have this access. So this will be live. This today will have, so this book, this little fantasy book that kind of got out of control but is coming back together, I will have the one posted with all the prompts that ended up with all the prompts, everything. I'll have the one posted that has the extra chapters, and I'll have the one posted that's the final. That way you can see the prompts, you can see the extra chapters, and you can see what the final would be. And that's the final from the AI. That is not the final with edits. That's not being done today. but I wanted you to see Sonnet in 3.5, what it's capable of. I also want you to see where we are right now as far as costs. So the 16th will not show yet because it shows the day after. So on the 13th, this cost $7.18. On the 14th, it was $1.56. On the 15th, it's not showing yet, but the 15th was about 22 cents each time. So Sonnet does add up, absolutely. So just keep that in mind if you're using it. We have not made a new goal list for this week because I'm still working on this part of last week. It's gonna get done. I am so sorry that I'm so far behind. So this is chapter 9. We are just gonna have it continue chapter 9. Right, so there's that. And then all I'm doing right now is copying. And this is, chapter 9's written, it's just that it's very short. So all I did was put it in and tell it to expand it as much as possible. So grab this, toss it in, then grab the next one, piece it together, and then we'll go on to chapter 10. There's only 15 chapters. Okay, grab that. Get rid of all of this. This is where we find out who the bad guy is. I mean, in addition to the other bad guys, this is the one who betrays her. This is plain text. So already it went from 1300 to 2800, but it is not done, because we also have this part. Which takes the chapter to just over 4,000 words. I'm going to go back up here to where it was spliced. Got that. Alright, now we're going to go down to chapter 10. Make sure to switch this over to chapter 10. I'm going to copy the prose. This is chapter 10. Please expand it as much as possible. That's all you have to do. And then send that. I'm really hoping that Blogger doesn't have like a limit to how long the post can be, but if it does, and we'll figure it out. It'd be nice if YouTube didn't have a list or like a setting where it stops everything, but it does, so that's why we're having to look outside of the box. Ideally, YouTube wouldn't have made it so that I had to have the not safe for work side, and ideally YouTube would just allow all the text that I want to put in it, but YouTube has limits, and that's okay. It's going, it's going, it's going. We're going to go from 1,400 words to something much, much longer. And we're already at over 2,000. Can you make it 2 types though? Okay, doing nicely. Yep, so it is going to stop it halfway through, as usual, because it is longer. So, just to give you an idea, that costs 23 cents. Copy that. I'm going to get rid of all of this. There we go. Nope. That's what happens when you control V. We're not controlling V. We're just pasting as plain text. That. Nope. You could absolutely do one chat per chapter. Since I'm going to try to keep all of this together and just copy paste all of this over, then yeah, I'm trying to have it be one. So this was like the brainstorming, this is the actual prose. Continue, Control Enter. Alright, there we go. Copy that. Get rid of that. Alright, so it became 3,600 words. Very nice. Alright, chapter 11 now. Okay, we're going to go from... Let's take a look at what our word count actually is right now. 43,000. So, yeah. This will probably end up being closer to 50K instead of 30K, but yeah. So what happened was we were at 20K and I was like, okay, we need some more chapters because we need more word count. So I added 10 chapters and I was like, no, the plot just got way too complicated, way too convoluted. Had a conversation with the AI about cutting the rest of it. Definitely felt like it was better just to cut those extra 10 chapters. So cut those 10 chapters, came back down to 20K, and I was like, okay, then the actual story, the plot here needs to be expanded per chapter. So then that started expanding it. So 20K is now 43K. So yeah, this one has become a little bit of convolutedness, but I think in the end, it'll be a good demonstration of Sonnet 3.5, which is really the whole point, to show you what Sonnet can do when it's building off of its own outline and its own characters and following itself with no prompting. I'm prompting like please continue, but no prompting like let's have Nyx in the party go up the mountain kind of thing. We're not doing that. And it's a good test of Sonnet. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. We'll jump right back. I've got a low balance alert on Open Router, so I need to go top that off again because of Sonnet. But that's okay. Sonnet looks like it'll be worth it. It's just maybe... See, this is one of those times when I wish Poe worked with Novel Crafter because I love Novel Crafter's interface. I love how easy it makes everything. But when you're working with an expensive AI... You know, maybe you won't be generating like 60K, 70K with Sonnet. But if you are, it gets pricey pretty quickly. I've had to top off more with Sonnet in this project than I have with Haiku in months. So just keep that in mind if you're working with Sonnet. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pause this video. I'm going to go get some more coffee. We're going to top off Open Router. and then we'll jump right back in and fix chapter 11. Now we're going to do chapter 11, exact same thing. Go over here, copy the prose, change our context to chapter 11. We are almost done. The other nice thing about keeping it all within the same thread is that you don't have to worry about which AI you're on. Is it won't open it generally to the exact same one. And right now it's been opening to GPT 4.0. Go ahead and send that out. Yep, and let it do its thing. Being a little slow right this second, but that's okay. We don't mind too much. If it keeps having issues, then I'm going to go ahead and refresh it, but I'm going to give it just a few more seconds. Okay, it had an issue. You see here is the prompt. So it had a major issue. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and refresh, see if it actually did it, or if it needs to have it redone. Looks like it actually did it, but let's double check. Yeah, so that was chapter 11. So then this would be what it redid of chapter 11. So then just go up here, all the way down, get rid of that, paste this, and then say, please continue. Okay, there we go. A little space there just so that I can piece it together. And then now it added about 3,000 words, so that's very helpful. Now just chapter 12, which is 1,400 words. Same exact thing, copy, switch the context to chapter 12. Paste chapter 12, send this out. Now I am not going to be reading it through before posting it. I'm not doing any kind of edits. I want you to see what the AI is able to do without any kind of input from us. And it's still going. Alright, so it gave us 2,800 words for the first chunk. So pretty much doubled what it gave originally. Go back up here, delete that. Paste as plain text so that nothing is just all in italics. Just like before, please continue. Now, if this is something that you don't enjoy doing, then don't worry about it. You don't have to have the AI write all the prose. You can just go through and have it, expand things, give insights, maybe tell it where you can do a little bit more character depth. That's absolutely fine too. On this channel, I like showing you what all the AI can do, whether it's from beta reading feedback to basically this, and then this you would go and edit yourself. So I'm not saying go throw this up on Kindle Unlimited right now. Don't submit it to Amazon right this second. I'm saying if you enjoy editing, if you're somebody who really gets a thrill out of people who are like, hey, I'm done with this, but now it needs feedback, this could be a fun exercise for you. Copy that. I also like doing these when I know I won't have internet access for a while and I want something to work on. If I don't have a book that currently needs edits and I won't have access to Novel Crafter, sure, I'll make one of these and go through and edit it for the next 6 hours. So we went from 1,400 to 4,100. So that's great. We're going to go to chapter 13. Bring this down to 13. Copy scene prose. This is chapter 13. Please expand this as possible. This is going to be such a long video. I am so sorry, everybody. Right now, I think it's 13 different chunks that need to be pieced together. Which isn't hard, it's just a program that I put them into and then it gets rid of the gaps. But it's still going to feel a little choppy, and I'm sorry about that. The 2800, which is pretty consistent with where it stops. Go up here. Just very simple, please continue. Okay, copy that, paste that. Get rid of that part, and there we go. So this chapter is now 4,000 words. Go down to chapter 14. It's only 922 words. Copy prose. Change this. I did not mean to actually click on that. Let's expand this as much as possible. Send. I'm probably going to do a separate video for the beta reading and the blurb and all that good stuff at the end. just because it's already going to be a very long video with all of the plot issues where I went back and forth and deleted chapters, and then with just, it's going to be a long video. So the beta reading part will be separate. And it's still going. And is it perfect? Definitely not. It absolutely will need help. But it's not terrible. Now, is it worth the price? You'll have to decide that one. Is that the end of this chapter? Because if it is, that's significantly shorter than all the other chapters. But if it is, then I'm not going to mess with it. Okay. So that is chapter 14. Let's go down to chapter 15, which is going to be 1,200 words. All right. Copy scene. So this does seem like the final chapter. Oh, did you not? Okay, sorry. Sorry, I interrupted you by closing you. Or did I make you hiccup and now I have to refresh? We will see. Looks like we'll have to refresh. So go ahead and do that. Oh, a network error. Send that. Make it longer, please. And once it does, then I will go ahead and show you what the total word count is. And we can get kind of an idea of the total cost, though the total cost might need to be updated after, just because it won't have actually grabbed the total for today yet. So at least $10. It's a really loud sound. I'm going to clean my glasses while it's doing that. It's definitely having hiccups this morning. Okay, 1700. Come on, you can do it. All right. Got 2,400 words. Looks like the end. I'm just going to double check. Copy that. Okay. Double checking that we don't need an epilogue, or if this is the epilogue, that we're okay. All right, cool. Maybe a little bittersweet because the main character died, but that's okay. Definitely wasn't a romance, which was kind of my goal. Alright, so 2,400 words for chapter 15. And full novel, 54,000 words. Okay. Slightly over where we were heading for the 30K in 90 minutes, but it definitely wasn't 90 minutes, and it really didn't end up being 30K. But it has more world building, and it has more plot and more depth and different types of characters than a simple beachy romance. So it was fun. Alright, let's look at open router cost. So it is not going to have today or yesterday in there, but if you take a look, we're looking at, you can figure probably about a quarter each time. So absolutely will add up. I topped off, but even since topping off, yeah, like I've spent a good chunk. I started this on around the 14th. So I haven't completely spent the 15, but we've done a good chunk. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video. The beta reading video will be separate, where we talk about the strengths, the weaknesses, get a blurb, get tags, all that good stuff. But I'm also going to post all of this into the new blog. And thank you so much for watching. If you made it through to the very end, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this exercise. I had fun. It went a little off course and a little longer than I planned, and it took a little longer than I had hoped, but this is fun, and I enjoy doing these, and I enjoy showing them to you, showing you what the AI can do. So, see y'all soon. Thanks for being here. I really do appreciate it.